What he said, what she said, what they said.
Greetings, everyone. I am Pat,
Your girl Cash Money.
and this is episode 13 of Gender Talks, and we're going to talk about, uh, let's see, we're going to talk about politics. Talk about
Oh,
politics. Uh, okay, so we've already stated the importance of voting, right? And
yes.
we've already stated the importance of the way you vote, right? Which, uh, okay, it's individual to each person. At the same time, a Democratic ticket, straight ballot, kind of it's closer into alignment with what most of us want here. Uh, but I get it. Um,
I don't know about that. Some of these
listen,
folks want some other stuff.
so
I,
so
I
so
think I think folks what I think it is, I think folks don't I don't like talking about politics, but we got to. I think folks don't understand what because lately we have not heard any policies. So I think folks need to be clear on when they hear certain words, what that
mhm,
means. Case in point, I've been into the Olympics, so I really ain't been trying to watch the news. But
mhm,
I caught the segment of the news for the weather, and your boy gave a speech
mhm,
to a group, since we were just talking about spirituality and religious, a group of Christians,
mhm.
whereby I quote, end quote, you only got to vote one more time and then you won't have to vote the next 4 years after that.
Oh, so you're gonna get one vote every 8 years, or
No,
he trying to? Oh, so we gonna only have to. So it's this gonna be the last election, 2024, and
yes.
it, wow, yeah,
You're only
that
going to have to vote one more time and then you won't have to vote no more. What does that
mm,
sound like? If we ain't got to vote, why do we not? I got questions that need answers.
mhm.
Microphone on. Why I only got to vote one more time?
Mm. Well,
What am I going to do in 2028 if I only got to vote one more time? What are you saying? Pay
well, he
attention, people.
well, a lot of the other side, in the past, they've had interviews where those people have said that maybe it takes a dictator to be in America. So a lot of them want a dictator. A lot of them want, so a lot of people want people to be under someone's thumb because their form of freedom is not freedom, right? Their form of
Right.
freedom is limited. The thing about freedom, people want to claim freedom, but they don't want to understand that there is a form of anarchy that comes with freedom, right? Because with freedom, you get to do what the hell you want. That's
Power.
that's yeah, that's right. That's the power. Here's the thing, that's the power of freedom, right? Is you get to do what you want to. Everybody's supposed to be a free man on this planet. You get to do whatever you want to, believe what you want, eat what you want, do what you want. Now, we
For
have
right
social
now,
we have social norms that being a society, because that's a creation of a bunch of free people coming together and saying, yeah, I might not want to go jump off a mountain every day, right? Yeah, I might not want to start a fire every day, right? It's a we have social norms created by a society where we function within that tells us, okay, you don't have these certain behaviors. However, the word in itself brings anarchy because that's what free is. Free will is. It's to do what the free will to do what you want, right? The freedom of choice, the freedom of speech. Say what you want to. Here's the thing: every man is going to have to pay for what they say, right? Because what you say, the tongue, it has the power of life and death, right? You said that, right?
right.
So everyone's going to be held accountable for the things that they have said.
and done. But yes,
Done, right? So since every person is going to have to be accountable, yeah, you can have freedom of speech, and you're supposed to discern what you say, right?
right.
So if you say nigga, nigga, nigga to me, excuse me, if you say that to me, that's on you. It ain't on me, right? If I call you a BVB, that's on me. That's not on you, right? I'm gonna have to pay for that. So freedom of speech. We want freedom of speech. We want freedom to be whoever we want to be. But then a lot of times we don't allow that. We don't want people to be who they want to be. We want people to be who we want to be.
Right. That's control.
Right. Control. It comes down to control. And so a lot of people want to be controlled. A lot of people want to be controlled. A lot of people don't want to use their brain. A lot of people don't want to be held responsible for their lives and their actions and the things that they create through their words, thoughts, and deeds. A lot of people don't want to. So when you don't want to, what do? You turn it over to someone who's going to make decisions for
But
you. And
that's
then,
what I but that's what I have a problem with.
well,
That's
I
what I
have a
have,
problem with
but
it.
that's what I have a problem with all of that because with the Supreme Court saying that a president has a level of immunity for certain acts that they perform in their presidential capacity, we
But
are cre- we
yeah.
are creating the groundwork or laying the foundation for a
Hmm.
dictator. Think about
Hmm.
that. You now get in essence gave a person almost a green light to say, if I don't want to leave the White House, I'm the president, I don't have to, and I'm immune from basically changing the Constitution to say that we're now a dictatorship. I don't need Congress approval because
Right.
I'm acting in my presidential capacity. Do
Here,
you know
okay.
how crazy that sounds?
And here's what someone like that relies on is other people trusting that they wouldn't do that. Other people believing that they wouldn't do that because they wouldn't do it or because that's not how it's been or that's not how you're supposed to do it, right?
What's the saying?
Believing
What's the saying?
which one?
Believe people when they show you who they are the first time.
Right.
Ask Mike Pitts if he thinks that person wouldn't go that far. Because why people splitting hairs about the situation, let's call a spade a spade.
Mm-hmm.
He's liable for these people committing or attempting to commit murder on Mike Pence's life. So what do you mean?
Oh yeah.
He
But
wouldn't do that. He already did. What do
he's
you
not li-
mean?
he's not liable for that. Those people made that choice on their own. He didn't incite that. He didn't incite that.
Okay.
don't
If you
don't
believe, if you
I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you what they believe. Now, I, on the other hand, believe that he incited all of it.
that man stood there and said, we're gonna go down there. Where we are contraction of
But
W
he
E
wasn't speaking
A
of
R
himself.
D. I'm not French, so I'm not
He,
speaking French. He said, we're gonna go down there. That's
he was
inclusive of who? The
he
people
was
he was talking to and himself.
correct. We know that. But what he's trying to sell is he wasn't speaking that way. That's not what he meant. He wasn't intending to go down there. He was saying we're as a metaphor for you and our movement, but not me. Like I'm not going.
So I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
What
Hey, just
role
I'm joking. This is all in jest because she knows my beliefs behind it. So let me just
I what role do you think January 6th played in his attempted assassination, if any?
it's hard to tell. And this is me being serious now. So it's hard to tell because here's the thing. Now that guy was a registered Republican, right? So you can't party ideology. He was supposed to be aligned with the Republicans. Uh, so that's the hard, and this is where the Republicans are playing this up, right? He aligned with us, so he must have just had a vendetta out, or and this is how they play it. The Democrats sent him because they knew he could get in, and then they got into his mind. This is the scenario one of the scenarios that they had
Conspiracy
played.
theories that they come up
Yeah,
with.
conspiracy theory is that the Democrats sent him, right? Okay, let's go down a conspiracy theory hole right quick and say, okay, well, he was aligned with the Republicans. Maybe the Democrats sent him, maybe not. Why was he trying to? What was he
Why?
trying?
We ain't even got to go down a conspiracy. You and I both were in the military. We studied the art of war.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't even got to be a Democrat. Maybe he was just collateral damage for your failed stage attempt assassination.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Maybe he
mean,
was
he was the pawn. Maybe he was the fall guy. And maybe
just,
you didn't intend for innocent people to die.
Mm-hmm.
But if you thought you were in war, collateral damage. They were collateral damage.
Those people probably were. And the first thing, even though I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? My energy has always been benefit of the doubt. The first thought I had about it was staged. The very first thought. And I try to see everything from the higher view, like, nah, his life was somebody tried to take his life, and that's wrong no matter what. No, the very first thing that I got was, oh, that was fake. Oh, it was staged, and it was like, no, somebody got killed. Okay, it could have still been staged, and yes, collateral damage, right? I think it was staged a little bit, and they had to have a fall guy because somebody died. I think they said if it was staged, it wouldn't have used real bullets. I think dude used a real bullet because he was not because they had to have it look very real. Because if they had just heard a flash or say maybe it was an attempt, right?
Mm-hmm.
They heard the gunshot, then it would have been obvious that it was a fake, you know. But that's just me.
Because when have we ever in American history, well, I ain't gonna say that, had that monumental of a breakdown where they had 90 minutes that they were aware of the suspicious person. They had a 90 minutes,
Window.
an hour and a half. They saw the guy, they radio. You tell me of all the times y'all don't have a process in place for when radio communication fails. The Secret Service and the damn military got a process for when communication fails. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
So
I'm not buying it. You've been in the military. I've been in the military. I'm just not buying
okay, Kel.
that we had a perfect storm to where this window of opportunity came. That
here's another aspect, because we're going down this dark theory, right? And I'm just laughing because this whole theory. But then Biden goes and drops out. So the assassination attempt. Then Trump does the fist pump in the fight. Then Biden has his disaster, and then he drops out to where now it's just this swirling pool of woman against man, black woman, minority woman against the white god man, right? To lead this country. And then you got the Project 2025, right? And
which is already being implemented, but yeah.
Correct. And then you have a situation where there is no policy being discussed at all. If we're in August, like you said, July, August, there's no policy. No policy has been discussed. This is the weirdest election year I've ever seen in my life, because the election, when we were kids, the election would have been started last December. Like the campaigning, it's politics, the debates, all that, right? It would have started last December, right? We would have known about the Iowa caucuses and all that stuff, and we would be full on. it's the last few weeks. Ain't nobody putting out no policy. Ain't nobody saying nothing. It's just gonna be So people are gonna show up to the people. This is what's gonna happen. People are literally gonna show up to the box and either check Kamala or Trump because they're not gonna know anything. They're not. Those that vote usually mostly gonna vote for Kamala are just okay. We know about Project 2025, and that's gonna get out in our community and other minority communities. That's gonna pump that number up. But these people, the Trump people, they're not going because they don't even feel like the reason why they're not putting out any policy is Project
They don't have
2025. They're
to.
full on board with it. Right.
Right.
They're
They
full
don't
on
have
board
to
with
put out any policy. I
it. They don't have
mean, you know, they don't have to put out any policy.
Mhm.
You know, he has all this TV time because she just got in the race. She was the VP on the ticket. She just got in the race 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
You have plenty of time to talk about what your policies are.
Mhm.
You know, and of course, you know, they talk about politics in certain classes in school. So I've had to have conversations, excuse me, with my oldest kids. And I know we're getting off topic, we're gonna go back to because I really want your answer about where January 6th played in the assassination attempt. But policy, and we were talking about where things align initially. I question those individuals who are directly affected or indirectly affected from Social Security, Medicare, veterans benefits, military, federal government employees, because historically Republican policy is all of those are entitlement programs and big government that is counterintuitive to the founding principle of Republicans. So how do you, as a veteran, government employee, and may or may not have parents or whoever on Medicaid or Social Security, knowingly vote for someone who wants to take those things away on top of the abortion and everything else? How do you vote against your interests?
That's the thing is, how do I say this? And not just make it too simple and not just make it about the thing that they say that we always make it about. But it's simply your voting race base. You're voting based on your race. You're not voting on where you are or the benefits that you use or the things that you have or your interests. You're voting on black or white, brown or white, yellow or white, red or white, right? You and how that aligns, right? You're not voting on anything else. So how do you align whether you're black, brown, yellow, red, if you want to go through the melanated spectrum? How do you align with whiteness? Now, if you align yourself with whiteness and you align yourself with that side, you're going to vote Trump, because it doesn't matter what your interests are, because what you're saying is his policies, Project 2025, whatever it has in there, I agree with. And even if it has eliminating
my Social
Medicaid,
Security, my Medicaid.
Yes, even if it has that in there, that's good that it has that in there, because then there would be no social programs. Everybody would have to work hard for what they earn. Even if you're retired and 80 years old, you still got to get out there and push carts at Walmart. Everybody got to earn, right? You got to earn to live.
You
That's
should have
what a lot of
saved better, or you should have saved better.
So now we're gonna have you voting to eliminate people, and you're voting to eliminate the perception of black, brown, red, yellow people, right? And what's gonna happen is all those people that vote that way, those programs stop. These people, again, the people that have gone without, the people like me and you, the melanated people that have had to learn how to live with struggle and live within stuff and make stuff beautiful when we been given ugly stuff and all these other things, right? We're gonna be able to survive. But those people that are eliminating the social structures and the social things that we put in place over time and want to say it's all about you got to get out there and get it out the mud. They ain't gonna want to get out there and get it out the mud. And then what's gonna happen is you can best believe they're gonna start to try to bring back a form of slavery, right? Which they've never given up, but they're gonna try to start bringing it back, right? And then once they start trying to bring that back, then they're gonna be like, yeah, I am an elite. I have money to do this and that. This is how it's supposed to work. And so what's gonna happen is all of us, we're gonna exit because I know it's a bunch of melanated people. I keep saying melanated because I just don't want to just say black, but it's a bunch of melanated people that are like, I'm leaving the U.S. I'm getting gone. Right? I got my passport. I'm telling my family to get their passports so when it hits, we can go. You know what I'm saying? And what's gonna happen is the people that voted in alignment with this are gonna be here and they're gonna be living in a form of hell on earth that they created because they said America needs a dictator because we need to restore values. We need to, what is it? Make America great again. And like
Right.
everyone said, when has America ever been great?
When it
When
was
have
off
we
the back,
been great?
when it was benefiting off the backs of melanated people. That's when it was great.
When have we ever been great? You send somebody to defend, you send somebody to war to defend someone else and your own interests, and then they come back here and they're still second class citizens.
Mm-hmm. That's what they want to go back to. Did you look at the draft, the proposed bringing back
I
the
didn't look
draft?
at that part. I didn't look at that part, but I'm going to look at that part. Well, what did it say?
They're talking about bringing back the draft where 18-year-old males have to register. And I'm like, well, they already do that with the selective service number.
Yeah.
You know, they still, I don't know if people are aware, but yeah, black males, not black males, just males in general, 18 and over still has to register for the selective service. But
Mm-hmm.
back to my question, seriously, what
Uh,
role do you think January 6th played in his failed assassination attempt?
failed in his
Going,
failed.
especially, let me
played in his failed assassination attempt. Uh,
let me go back. Let me add to that. In light of what we were just talking about in the two-part episode about energy and putting out good energy and bad energy or whatever. So in that mindset, what role do you think January 6th played in his failed assassination attempt? I'm asking a serious question now. I don't want you to be the other side and debate.
It galvanized. Yeah, I got you. It galvanized that base to take action either way, right? And what I mean by that is, yeah, that dude was a registered Republican who still decided to go try to attempt suicide on their candidate, right? Um, I mean, attempt assassination on their candidate, not suicide. But actually, he tried to suicide him. They call you. He tried to suicide him. But no, I think it brought that type of person and those groups to a head. I think it also all the rulings that have come down from the Supreme Court and from other courts. Yeah, they were protecting us a lot from that craziness until the Supreme Court said, well, he has immunity in some way. So then the dominoes start to fall on the other side, which was okay. I'm going to challenge mine from January 6th because they gave Bush. I keep saying Bush. They gave Trump the immunity. So, well, if you give Trump immunity, then I'm going to challenge mine and I'm going to get out, right? So it gave those types of people another pass, basically. So
Because it was a
it's a
witch hunt to them anyway. It was a witch hunt to them. It wasn't
yeah.
real. Just like
Here
the results of the last election wasn't real. So
and here's the thing is what's real? If we say if they had gotten their way and Trump won the last election and we were claiming that it wasn't real, would they want to? And we stormed the Capitol, right? People on our side of the idea,
you know,
like
all them folks would be in jail with no questions asked.
right, because
It
those
wouldn't even
people,
be. And what gets me about the whole January 6th thing and the election wasn't real. In every state that he said it wasn't real in, the Secretary of States and everybody over the elections were
Mhm.
all Republicans. So I feel like you purposely plan in our face with this scenario to again incite the right of your base. Because
Mhm.
how is the election stolen when the people responsible for the election align with your belief system and party?
Mhm. Well, we saw how he was going to run the country if during COVID, during the lockdown. Because what he's doing is all that's going to happen is that's going to happen again. We've already said this though, and I know I kind of know this about the energies, right? Is that is going to happen again? There's going to be another country that's going to release, and I get it. I look at it. Yeah, China do what they were doing. I'm sorry, they didn't do what they were doing. That's just my belief on that. Another country's going to do it, or someone else, or China might do it again and release another virus, right? And what's going to happen is we're going to go back on lockdown, and then it's going to happen just like it did, except it's going to be worse. Remember, people forget how Portland was, where people were going out to Portland to be there for the freedom of being in Portland, right? For the freedom of
Which,
I'm able to protest. But
and
here's
it
the thing.
baffles me, and it baffles me that you say that people don't think COVID and us being on lockdown is directly tied to the inflation we're experiencing now.
Oh
And
yeah,
I had to give my child a quick economic course. I said, do you know what was not happening? I said, we're a capitalistic economy country. We're built off capitalism. I said, that means supply and demand. I said, so you know what wasn't happening during COVID? There were no demand
no
for
demand.
certain
Yeah,
things, and there
yeah.
was an excess in supply. So when things open back up, the demand for certain things leveled off or went through the roof. And now they're like, oh, we have a demand and we have the supply or we have a shortage. I can charge 3 times the amount. And when you do that, everything goes up. And what do you have?
Inflation.
Inflation. When
Yeah, because
supply and demand is out of balance, inflation soon follows. So I don't understand when I hear all of these individuals, we had a better economy under Trump. Yeah, we were on lockdown, and that was from Obama's economy.
the good economy. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Again, back to what I was saying about we saw how he was going to run the country. See, what people forget that there was a situation where he had all these police units out on the streets, every city. I'm talking about every city. I remember in the deep middle of July of 2020, hearing there was a warning siren that went off, and then there was a patrol that went around, right? And this is in DC, this is in Silver Spring, Maryland. So this is right outside of DC. But it happened also when I was in Alabama visiting that summer, and then when I came home um, later in that summer in August, September range, it happened at home too. Every city had there would be a pop in the morning, a big boom in the morning because they were keeping us on high alert, a big boom in the morning, and then a patrol would go out. And so those patrols were snatching people up that was out on the road, that was out at night, snatching them up and taking them wherever. We still haven't heard about any of those people. We forget about those people that were snatched up, that went to jail, except for the ones that were caught on camera. There were other people that got snatched up we ain't seen or heard from. This is a conspiracy theory and the truth at the same time. We saw how he's going to run the country. What he's going to do is he's going to declare martial law, and then he's going to put everybody on a lockdown, right? And what happens is people accept that type of stuff and want that type of stuff because you got to remember who their ancestors were, right? A lot of people's ancestors were Confederates, racists, also Nazis. A lot of people today, their ancestors were those type people who liked that type of deal, who liked sundown towns, who liked genocide, right? The people now supporting Israel and talking about how you can see that it's genocide. You can clearly see it's genocide. And they're like, yeah, it should eliminate it, right? What's wrong with people? Well, it's all based on race. So ultimately, the politics of this country are going to come down to Are we going to come out and turn out for our candidate who will be the best for the entire human race, especially in the United States, even though it's not going to instantly change? See, the thing about politics is people get this vision and this grandeur of the entire world is going to change under Kamala. All these people that are afraid it's all going to change, and all the black people just going to be running them up. To people see that it's going to be this hell if Trump wins, right? Yeah, it might be a little bit of it at first, and then it'll get worse, right? But it ain't never going to be just black people taking. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So
Right.
So that's why they're going to move on fear, and they're going to move on the fear of racism, right? So what we have to do now, and the January 6th thing, like I said, it gave them license. That's why he did that, because it would have given them more license to elect somebody even worse. So say Trump did, if he does ascend back to power with this, right? It did what it was supposed to do, and he was the fall guy. If it doesn't, it still did what it was supposed to do. And what now they're going to be out doing is it's going to call for it. They're going to try to assassinate another president and another one and another one until now there ain't gonna be no presidents making any appearances. They're gonna be behind the wall, dictate from behind the wall. You see what I'm saying? That's where the January 6th comes in. That's where this dude doing it comes in. He's gonna be able to dictate from behind the wall because he doesn't want to be hurt. We want the president to be protected. Now I can just sit in my castle like he did before, when they were out on his front porch saying, "Hey, we demand justice for Floyd. We demand justice for Breonna Taylor, right? We demand justice. We demand justice for COVID, and you not being ready for the response." He hid in his castle, and he had his troops come out and protect his castle. Again, people don't remember when he set off a bomb, whether it was a smoke bomb or not, the crowd around a place that's supposed to be free for demonstration. He set off a bomb to clear it out so that he could walk across the street and take a picture with a Bible.
Yeah.
That's the type of person that they want to elect, because that's the type of power that they want. They feel that power through force is the only way that you can get something done. And that is wrong. And that's why I asked you a question about energetic beings coming together, us coming together, and even though it's a small group, making a change, saying that this is not going to happen, putting into the atmosphere and the vibration of the earth that certain things aren't going to happen, right? I'm saying that's not going to happen because I don't want it to, right?
It's a shift in the atmosphere. I'm not subscribing to he won't ever.
Right.
I saw something yesterday, and it's crazy because his family members are coming out in droves speaking against him. He's deplorable. The stuff that I heard yesterday, and I know people are selling books or whatever, but the guys basically said even if he loses 2024, he's gonna run again in 2028 because he does not know how to accept losing. He's never lost in his life, so he does not know how to deal with that.
I believe he's lost, but he's just always had someone to cover it and tell him he didn't lose. You get what I'm saying?
Alter reality, delusions of grandeur.
He lost millions of dollars, billions of dollars, but someone comes behind him and says, "Oh, he's Trump the billionaire, and now I'm a billionaire again," just because they said it. You know what I mean?
He got good tax breaks, and so it wasn't really a loss; it was just a tax write-off. But that's another story for another day. This is why I don't like politics, because it splits you in so many different directions, and there's so much stuff that people don't truly realize the outcome. And I'll just say with this, I'm not going to tell anybody who to vote for, but please exercise your right to vote. And if you choose to abstain from voting, you cannot give any complaints later, regardless of the outcome of how it turns out. If it turns out in your favor and you don't get everything, or it turns out not in your favor and you get a little bit, you have no say so if you don't vote. You can't complain about the government, the cycle, or anything if you don't vote. And what we have to also do as a reminder is not just vote every 4 years,
be involved in your local elections, because that is where you truly do make the most impact. It ain't every 4 years. The
Mhm.
president ain't signing your stuff for the school board and the county roads. That ain't the president. The
Mhm.
mayor, your city councilman,
Local elections are the
local
election.
elections matter. Congressmen matter. If you
Yeah.
want the president to pass and enact bills that benefit you, you got to give them a Congress to work with to get the bills passed and become in law for the president to sign off on.
If you want a president that actually behaves like a president, the House and Congress should be opposite of whatever the president is. So if the president is a Democrat, then yeah, it should be Republican, right? And vice versa, because
We
it
ain't got
keeps them.
nothing done that way. That's the problem. We
Well,
haven't gotten stuff done. They sit up there and they don't do nothing. They sit on their hands till we get our president, and then people flip flop. That hasn't worked. That is the problem with the politics.
But see, here's the thing: people flip flop too when it's been all Democratic or all Republican, because then you get into.
We never had an all Democratic.
We've had more
both
power though.
branches of government have never been all. That's never been the case where it's been one party.
But here's the thing: do we pray for that?
Oh, I do, because I know the difference matter. I need my Democratic president to have a Democratic Congress to get stuff done. The Republicans have shown time and time again, when there's a Democratic president, they sit on their hands. When it's a Republican president, what they do? They run the table with everything. We've never had in our era, a Democratic president, a Democratic House, and a Democratic Senate. We haven't had it. They gonna try like hell to not give it to us either. And I'm saying Democrats because that is where most of my beliefs align. I kind of understand some liberals. I have some conservative views, and we talked about that before. It's just a lot. As you started with, and we'll wrap up, is the freedom of things. And, especially on the thing of abortion, I don't agree for my own self to have an abortion. But I also understand that it's not my right to decide for another woman. That's her decision. She got to live with that decision. That's between her and her higher being, power, God, Allah, whoever she spiritual being and in line with. That's their decision. Because as we said before, everybody got to answer for what they do, good or bad, and has the power or the energy to control how it comes back to them, if it's good or bad. So that's for them to decide what to do with their body. It ain't for me to decide. I decide my body. And I think that's the thing, I don't believe it's right for me, but I don't believe I should have the choice to tell somebody else what to do with their body. That's the whole thing that this country was supposed to be built on, as you said, freedom of choice, freedom of self-awareness. So yeah, I'm gonna get off my spot because politics get me riled up and angry sometimes, because
we had to have a discussion.
It was a lot in that, man. Oh,
we had to have a discussion. I mean, we had to talk
it.
about
It's crazy. We are less than 100 days. So yeah, make sure y'all go register to vote, because if you don't have a choice. Find out your local stuff. You can Google. You can go to your voter page in your state, the Secretary of State for your voting. Most states allow you to register up until October, but check your state. Each individual state is different, and exercise your right to vote. Somebody died, and your kids and your future generations' lives depend on it.
I'm not sure if I heard it or if you said it or not, is make sure you check your registration in other states too. And make sure that if you're not residing in that state anymore, you remove yourself from that role, because what's going to happen is you're going to be registered in multiple states, and then they're going to try to use that to count
to invalidate your vote.
invalidate your entire vote. So make sure, because I got to make sure that I'm not registered in Georgia and Maryland, right? So you guys got to make sure if you're in a different state, you're registered in the state that you're in, and you're not registered in another state. So I'm Pat.
Cash Money. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe, comment, share.
All that. This is Gender Talks. Peace.